There's a wheelbarrow in my living room. Now, I don't know if every wheelbarrow has a backstory, but this one does. Oh, and I want to just say that a friend of mine uses the term wheelbarrow. And I like that. It's a pleasant colloquial expression. But it really isn't a barrel, it's a barrow. Barrow is a British word that means a two-wheeled hand cart. A frame with two short handles at each end, such as a stretcher has, used for carrying a load. I'm old school. So here is the story. My daughter-in-law called me with some really good news. She informed me that for Christmas, my son wanted a wheelbarrow. And that was great news because it got me off the hook. Oh, good. One Christmas gift checked right off. So the first thing I did was to check at the big box stores, went online. And the stuff there ranged from cheap junk to stuff that looked pretty good. And then I thought, I know, I'll take a ride over to Montague Tool. That's the place where all the contractors go and get them a really good, strong... Nah, that's overkill. He just needs a wheelbarrow for around his home. So now I'm dithering back and forth. What should I buy? Should I buy him a less expensive one and some tools, or the real good one? And that's when serendipity struck. I'm driving in my car, late afternoon, and that late afternoon setting sun was slanting right across the road, and it caught something. I turned my head, and there, sitting on a snowbank, that sun was just glinting on a wheelbarrow that was on its side. And duct taped to that wheelbarrow was a little sign with 4 letters scrawled on it, F-R-E-E. Well, I spun the car around. I was excited. A free wheelbarrow. I went over and looked at it. The pan was some kind of a hard plastic, and it was cracked where the bolts went through, and it had a couple other splits in it, big ones. And then the frame was all wobbly. Piece of junk. I was so disappointed. I drove home. But after supper, I sat down at my computer and I went on YouTube. And you know how that goes. I typed in wheelbarrow, and I saw wheelbarrow repair, wheelbarrow restoration, wheelbarrow hacks, one after another, and suddenly I felt that wheelbarrow sitting on the snowbank calling to me. So 9 o'clock at night, I got out my car, went up, it was still there. I brought it home. I wheeled it right into my living room. Now, I could have taken it into my basement, but it's cold down there. I go down there to do the sewing, but I'm 70 years old. It's nice and warm in my living room. So I wheeled it right here in my living room. I took the pan off and I looked at it and I said, wait a minute, look, all the bolts were loose. There was one that was missing. If the previous homeowner had, or wheelbarrow owner had tightened up all the bolts, replaced the one that was missing, it would have been usable, serviceable. So now I looked at it and I said, I need a beer. So I went to the fridge, picked up a Genesee cream. Now, I know what you beer snobs are going to say. Oh, Genesee. Genesee is a good beer from Rochester, New York. It's a working man's everyday beer. But after I picked it up, I put it back because I thought, nah, this project needs a good sipping beer. The one I was saving from the local craft brewery, Angry Eric's. I picked up an Angry Eric's Cayula, one of the best beers in the world. And I sat next to my new wheelbarrow frame, and I sipped and I thought, sipped and I thought, sipped and I thought. Ran down to the basement. Found a couple of pieces of 1x10 rough sawn green, well, not green anymore. It was green when I bought it 25 years ago. That pine was sitting in my basement waiting for a project. I measured it enough for 3 sides. So, here's what I did. So once I found that 1x10 rough sawn pine, I went to work. And that's what the sides are made of, as is the front. The back is a piece of 1x8. Floor made of 1x6 rough sawn. I glued and screwed in from the bottom these cleats so that I could glue and screw the sides in to them. Seems to work. As you can tell, I'm not a fine woodworking craftsman. I really don't have any fine woodworking tools. My work could probably be described best as basic, perhaps primitive, even crude. But I'm a form follows function kind of guy, and if it works, I'm happy. Now the frame of the wheelbarrow isn't great. It's a low-end, came from a low-end wheelbarrow, but the wheel works and the handles are intact. The steel isn't the highest quality, but I think for the purpose it will be used for, it may be okay. And you know what? If it breaks, if it craps out, my son can fill the pan with dirt, park it right on his front lawn, and grow geraniums in it. Now, I made a modification. It's not mine. I found it on YouTube. It's a hack, and I think it's really great. Now, the guy who made it used plywood. I used 1x. He installed his from the back. I found that the wood fit more flush from the front. It was easier to install, so that's what I did. And the purpose was to prevent the wheelbarrow from tipping, and it works. But I think there's another advantage. I'm not an engineer, but it seems to me that that modification may just assist with the structural integrity of the frame. So, there it is. Use it up, wear it out, make it do without.